Tell a friend, I'll say it like that. Because it's just time to have a conversation, and it's time for us to do more of whatever we want to do. Quite frankly, it is still very warm out here. Let's see, it's still 100 degrees. And this is Viva Las Vegas, and we're living in Vegas. This is just water, agua, as we all need it. And, I was listening to Clark County School District's governing board meeting, and a doctor came up there. It was a doctor, you hear me? And he was trying to get some data in regards to behavioral issues for African American boys. Well, see, the issue is behavioral issues for people who don't understand. Public education is a modification of human behavior, and whatever you seem to need is what you're entitled to. But what you get is what you understand you're entitled to. But if you didn't know, I'm sorry you didn't know. Because, it is real, as this is America, And in America, you should do as Americans do. And I want to tell you, I think I was about 10 years old, yeah. And it was in 1969. We were getting ready to go over there to Japan. And when we got over there, I guess, they were concerns about my articulation of the King's English. Someone was concerned. And so anyways, they assessed me for special education. My mother was fighting. She didn't want me to be in special ed, but I loved it. There was this guy named Doug, and I don't even remember his last name, and this girl named Debbie. And, and then there was another girl, and she was always getting in trouble and always getting us in trouble too. But come on now. Her dad was a doctor. Her father was, a cosmetic surgeon. That's who he was. And she had us going on kiping sprees. I didn't even understand what that was. But, hey, it was real. We were young and stupid. We'd get on the train and go up to Tachikawa and then come back. And then come back through the neighborhood. But, she was stealing. We were just watching her. But we all got in trouble when we got in trouble. That's just real. And from that point on, I don't take anything that doesn't belong to me. But, that's just not the issue here in Nevada. Here in Nevada, you have to be an administrator of your parents' estate. So there's a whole process you have to go through with the court systems and the judge and everything. You know what I'm saying? And your siblings, of course. And, but you become the court administrator, and then, the IRS and, Worldmark by Wyndham should be listening to you. I finally got them to admit my mom had passed away. But I paid into that program for more than 2 years, almost a year and a half, I'll put it like that. But they wouldn't let me use it, so I stopped paying. But now we're going to have to talk about how I can utilize that, because it is paid for. And I saw that someone was trying to steal it, and I'm saying, no, you don't get to steal it without even acknowledging that she passed away. Oh, no, that's just never going to happen. My mom was a smart woman, and I'm here to prove it. I mean, I was screaming on YouTube, but I think I just got more comfortable in speaking to myself because, when I was at Barbizon and I was teaching, and there were some shows in California, I taught at Barbizon. That was in the 70s. Hey, what's going on? That's all I can say. But, Smith. But hello, and welcome, and just, understand we all have choices in this world. And God gave us only one thing, this and this, to use it. And you have to make choices. And if you make choices that are going to delay your growth or whatever, just know this. You'll make a choice, and guess what? Yes, you are the creator of your own reality, because you gotta do what you gotta do. And once children come, I don't think anybody's willing to give up that level of freedom. But once you get a child, you just gotta sacrifice, and that's just real. But then living in America, understanding that what's happening and how so many children don't even have a basic opportunity because their parents didn't know. They just didn't know. And I'm saying failure is not an option. And I'm saying, well, what is the value of a letter grade of F? But why do so many black people accept that letter grade of failure? I will never know because I never did. I had 3 boys, my 3 sons, and it wasn't like my 3 sons on television, no. And it wasn't, my life was not like the Cosbys or the Jeffersons. No, nothing like that. But my dad was in the Air Force, and he liked to party, and he partied a lot. And we barbecued a lot, and he hung out with his friends a lot, and it was just a good life. And then he liked to party too. And my mother probably wasn't the best person to be partying with because she would get in trouble with him every time they went out, and that would cause a scene or a fight or whatever. But eventually they separated, and that's just the way it is. Diego. And yeah, that's real. I had 2 baby daddies already in the urn, and believe me, they made choices not to be a part of their son's life. And I'm seeing now that I am 67 on June 30th, 67. And so I can say now that, I come from a broken family too. So many people don't grow up with their fathers in the black community. But, I'm trying to support my son so he has a daughter. I have 1 son that has a daughter. He is 41. I have 1 grandchild, and her name is Naga's son. And I'm telling you, she knows how to spell her name, and she needs to practice how to write her name. No, that's your belief. Your trauma is a blessing simply because trials and tribulations, you make choices. You didn't have to make those choices, but once you make them, you ain't got to do it again. And that's just real. So it's not over and over and over. No, you stop that. And then life goes on. That song, oh yeah, life goes on. And it's just a song and it's in your head, But so many people just don't even know the way to San Jose. And so they've never been. And what can I say? So many people don't understand what you can do just because you want to do it. Because who can stop you from doing whatever it is you want to do? I've been streaming and, talking and sharing. And then I watched the board meeting tonight, and there was a doctor that came up and spoke on the behalf of black and brown children who have 504s, behavioral plans. And he wants to know, but see, the problem is Nevada has this thing called an habitual disciplinary problem. And once your child is linked like that, they just lose their gifted and talented placement for life. And I'm saying, okay, I don't know how that works, but special education was really real because my son graduated with a one-on-one aid, a one-to-one aid, a laptop, and above proficient. And that makes a difference. And I'm saying, all my children graduated above 8th grade level, but California was only shooting for the high school graduation exit exam was at 8th grade. And guess what? Then they backed out and said, oh, too difficult. But let's understand, we're paying all these people with all of these degrees, and somehow your child can't read beyond the 3rd grade. And I'm saying, understand. You heard that popping? So many flies don't understand that's a bug catcher. I want to get a better bug catcher. One gets rid of the flies and the gnats and the mosquitoes because I like the outside, but I don't like being outside with them, and that's just real. Now, I'm just enjoying this evening because I can, and really enjoying talking because I see so many people don't have the ability to speak. And then, my sister got pissed at me today, and I'm saying, well, I'm about tired of her getting so pissed at me. And, since my mother died, it really doesn't matter. Because when my mother was here, I had to accommodate everybody. And that's what my job was, and making things happen for my mama. And guess what? I made things happen for my mama, and she made things happen for me. Because I'm living in a house. I'm living in a house. And I'm not homeless, and I don't have to worry about what's going to happen under Section 8. But a lot of people better understand. They've got 2 years to find some housing. And I'm saying, Perhaps you people should think about those poly kind of relationships and get hooked up with 2 or 3 women and a man, because there's so few men out here that are making it. But when you find one, and you don't even know you got one, and that's just real, because somehow these young people just want to lay up. That's all they want to do. And that is just how it happens. And then they have 38% of black children in the foster care system. I don't know how many Native Americans or Hispanic, but I know there is a 38% population of Negro children in the foster care system. But then there is an 88% population of Negro children in the juvenile facility. And then they would have, what is it? A 259% issues of willful defiance in Clark County School District. And I'm saying, well, they done wrote those behavior plans and put your babies out of public school, and you're attending this an alternative school. But I never lived anywhere in my life where they had a behavior high school, where there's no services over there, and they lack resources. And I'm saying, okay, it is real. Well, thank you so much, Diego. You're probably that too. And I'm just going to say, I like for people to say what they want to say out here in the ethos, because it only collects under them. It don't collect under me. And I have a choice, and I could report people or restrict them. I ain't got time to do all that. You make yourself look like what you want to look like, and then everybody can say, oh, that Diego. Yeah, that's real. And whatever. Because nobody asked you to do anything. Nobody even asked you to participate. Because I'm not out here for you. No, I'm out here for people who need to understand that they can do whatever they want to do, and ignore people who look like you. Because I don't even know what you look like. You don't even have a face. You got a D, D, D. I got a D in my name too. D-A. Yes, I do. And as a single parent, I raised my sons, and they're all very successful. And I'm here streaming live. When my phone was full to the brim, I had a whole 95.36 gigabytes of used space that YouTube was taking up. And I said, well, why is that? What is going on? I mean, because you pay for that Google One, it's $99 a year, and you just pay for the extra space, 2 terabytes of space. And you're supposed to have some space over there on Apple when you buy them Apple products. And I'm just saying, whatever. Y'all gonna do what you want to do. But it's not gonna stop me from doing what I want to do. And so, if your trauma is your reality, Diego, live it well. That's all I can say. Because I choose to live mine well. That's right. In America, you just have to do what it is you want to do when you want to do it. Because I always say pimping ain't easy. Water. But somebody has to do it. And therefore, it is done. And then we're listening to the Diddy trial. Did you not know that gossip was a sin? It's a part of one of those 10 commandments that thou shalt not do. But thou shalt just bear false witness or whatever it is. But when you shouldn't be doing it, you shouldn't be doing it. And people do it every day. Get all caught up. But I'm going to tell you one thing. The only thing that really matters is that they provide you the evidence of the support that they give to your child, and that your child is meeting the same age proficiency levels that the most gifted and talented child is meeting. Because failure to thrive is just not an option. And what do I mean? Kaiser said, failure to thrive. But then Microsoft said, bing, 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 human capital. Well, let's just understand how all those products come to America. But know that we living down here in Las Vegas, where we in the desert, and the train takes a minute to get here. And, when it was flooding, you couldn't really get up in here. But, we're in a valley. Swing low. We're just in a valley. And life is real. nobody's come home yet. But I sit out here and it frees my mind. And yeah, I know I got things to do in the house. I really do. And I shall continue to do them. That's everyday chore, everyday work. But, it's difficult when you're just gathering things. And why do you gather them? I don't even know. I have no idea. But, I met my father. I met my real father one time when I turned 21. My mother always told me that when I get 21, I get to meet my real dad. And so I flew to Chicago, and I flew in to meet him. And he was with some woman, and she killed him, actually. And that was just real. He was unalived at her sister's house, and he told me he would never swim in a pool, but somehow that's how his life ended. But I'm telling you, you have a choice when you put yourself in strange situations. But, I am an advocate for children. All children can learn. It matters what they learn, and it matters that they do learn. Social skills and Head Start. Did you know Head Start takes babies from 5 weeks old to 5 years old? But it matters what your local community does. And I think the most difficult thing here in Nevada is this apathy thing. People just are used to getting the deal. You know what I'm saying? House Negro and Field Negro, they really understand. And I know I've always been a Field Negro, and quite frankly, I don't care how you see me. When I see the level of failure and fraud, and I know what fraud looks like, because guess what? I was in Sacramento, and I signed up for this program called BTTI. Now, he could have put me in the Advanced Computer Repair program so I can get certified. Oh, no, he put me in the Microsoft Systems Certified Engineer program, where he could charge me $11,000 because I had that money, because I had served my country. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know they were supposed to be, and I tried to fight it with the state of California because I only had a high school diploma and a computer repair certificate from an adult skills program. But I'm saying I learned enough there. I learned not to get screwed again. So I understood I needed to have space because I knew what I was going to do. So streaming live shouldn't have taken all the space on my damn hard drive, because I got 256 gigabytes, whatever, of space. And then all of a sudden, 95 gigabytes were just all gone, all on YouTube. And I'm saying, well, how come I didn't go over there? How come I wasn't talking to Google One? I mean, what do I pay for 2 terabytes of space for? What are 2 terabytes of space? And then, the strange thing, it's not even strange, because they were fucking with my goddamn laptop too. It's in there, it's full again. But I bought a 5 terabyte hard drive, and I dragged all my videos over there, and I moved them over there on the, over there on the whatchamacallit. And even when I delete things, it just popped back. It's just the never-ending story, just there forever. But it's okay. Because you got to understand that we live through revelations. In the state of criminal justice, kids survived armed standoff. A mayor got arrested by a federal. I got to see what's going on. It says, because people, especially these entertainers who are investing highly in, the prison industrial complex. I mean, but when the community doesn't even rally around 3-year-olds, all 3-year-olds should be enrolled in an educational program. At least that's what the Biden-Harris administration said. I mean, that was what it was all about. But when Kamala didn't come out talking about the work that she had done around truancy and truancy provision for parents, the work that she had done around public education and ensuring adequacy happen for children who had disabilities. And, I was just able to use the medical profession, but I don't understand how somehow the doctors are just not involved in the children's ability to adapt or grow and whatever. And I'm saying, well, I don't know what's going on here. Fraud, a lot of that. But I want to keep on living. I don't want to end up in that Lake Mead over there. I don't want to be one of those people. Mm-mm. I like living. hmm hmm And I like my life. And guess what? I don't have to look any kind of way to be out here, and nobody can say anything that's going to hurt my feelings. And that's just real. Because you're only hurting your own self. Because you would take the time to get over here and try to act ignorant and act like you say something that's going to offensive to me. No, make yourself look more ignorant. That's what I can say. Because the real deal is that these words that you say today that sit there and whatever, well, they go away. And when they replay the video, they don't replay what you said. Not at all. And I forgot where I was for a second. Oh yeah, not promoting anything for children anyways. And that's just real. Frustrated? Yes, just a little bit, but that's why I don't have to work. Because I was injured on the job. And I got my Social Security. And this white hair is just evidence of age. But I don't have all those wrinkles. And I'm getting ready to be 67. Never even thought about what 67 would even feel like. But apparently, it is whatever. Whatever you want to believe is whatever you want to do. Because people have to get ready. Because they missed the train that was coming. And, it's about getting a clue. As, there are so many people that just don't have anything. And then there are people that are hired to have jobs that should be creating support pathways. But I think that the whole way of things that have happened, like public education, is mandatory. So therefore, if you don't put your kids in school, you've just opened up the door for the district attorney to do something to you. And they really do remove children from families. And I can't find what kind of training that is provided for people. I don't see the training providers. However, there are tons and tons of what? Tons and tons of not-for-profit agencies, non-profit, not just getting a benefit, but they're all getting a benefit because these people have participated in, YMCA. They've been in the YMCA. They got all their retirement is tied up in the YMCA. But then we look at the postage slip. I think it's 78 cents to mail a letter now. But if you have those forever stamps, continue to buy forever. Because when it continues to rise, you will understand. Forever is forever. Yep, my brother said, just because you got a open medical from Los Rios Community College District, he said, just don't believe that it's going to be there forever. He says, you need that. And I probably do know, you need to go right back to workers' comp. But there was so much fraud involved in my disability settlement. And I wasn't represented by an attorney. But the whole thing is that I know who I am. Yeah, it's not mistaking anything. I just know who I am, and I don't have a problem with who I am. Because I love myself. And that's what you should learn to do, is love yourself. Because when you don't, then you pop out and act really ignorant and show your true colors. It's just the true colors shining through. True colors, that's why I see you. Don't be afraid, hey, to let yourself go. Just be yourself and document who you are so we can all see it and we can all turn away from it at the same time. And, it really does make a difference. Because life is what? Life is just life. Liberty. What is liberty? What is justice? And what is DEI in the first place? Diversity, equity, and whatever that is. Because I just don't understand it. You have to fight for whatever right you believe that you have a right to have. But failure would not be any option when you have children. Because that's why we have the medical profession and we have modification of, you know, goals. When they modify the goals, you don't transition them, you don't end them. You just accommodate. And people don't even understand what it is. Well, my son graduated with the 101 aid, and guess what? When I took him over there to City College, he don't need no more English. He's already at English 1A. And he don't fight me. None of my kids fight me. And I don't understand how people have all these children that despise them as parents. And I'm saying, it's so rare to see a family just function, but then you can see the dysfunction within families. Like I said, since my mama passed away, it was been real. And I know what I was asked to do while she was living. And I would have done anything for my mother. Because I was the one. And I'm not missing out on life. I don't need to have anybody. I've already had that life experience. I was married. My ex is not here on this earth anymore. Hell, that woman couldn't wait to burn his body up, put him in the urn, and then try to get the death benefits. My son got a little bit of money, but guess what? She didn't have a child by him. They had this, it was just, she'll have to wait and get my age because she was only 38, which was 2 years older than his son. And I'm saying, understand. First, she has to live long enough. And if she doesn't remarry, that's going to be the deal. Because they'll change the rules and they'll change the rules and the rules. I was married to him for 7 years in the military. I think those military wives deserve something, don't you? For however many years you had to sacrifice, you should get some kind of benefit for that shit. And I think we ex-military wives need to argue for that. Yeah, because people are just wrong. And they are. But it's okay. Because, it's life. And life is liberty. And you could choose to do what it is you do. And I'm only talking because I'm so frustrated because only 14% of African American children scored at or above the 40th percentile for reading and math. And I said, well, what the hell is that? Do you understand when I said my son is in the spectrum and autistic? And they told me what he would not be able to do in public education. But when he graduated, and I took him over there and assessed him, he don't need no more English. He's already at English 1A. And then I realized that, well, he's my son, and he interacts with me. And so some of that skill just comes naturally because he got a mama that loves him. So, And I love my sons. I love all three of them. And we're waiting for people to befriend children. Breaking news. President Donald Trump uses troops to carry out an intensify. Oh, no, did you not see what the judge said? The judge said do something for him. Let me see something. For kids. Hey, that's real. But, you first have to see yourself as an American, and so many people say they ain't got time for it. But I had a lot of time for it because when I served as a VISTA, you probably should all go through the Corporation for National and Community Service, especially if you're a senior citizen and you want to do something that's beneficial for your community. You go through the Corporation for National and Community Service and you become a VISTA, a volunteer in service for America. And you get a little stipend, monthly stipend, and it doesn't affect your Social Security. And you get additional health benefits and you get services. You know what I'm saying? Services. And you get to make a difference in your community. And that's why I served as a VISTA, and I did 2 years. And I could have done more, I didn't realize. But now I'm not going to do it because, simply being on pain medicine is real. We're not over there on that other side of the world where they're over there instigating. And I'm saying so many people over there are dying. But people here are dying too. And you're going to find out that people are going to be so crazy. Somebody has a comment for me to see. Probably nothing. Let me look. Can't help myself. Go on my page and it makes it look like I got big boobs. I don't. It's just the camera set. Camera's the way that is. But I only got one anyway. Because they took one. And you never know what that's like until people make a decision with your life. And then you have to trust in the medical profession that, that they're telling you the truth. Well, they didn't find any cancer, and they could force me to take the chemo or the radiation or anything. I didn't have to take anything, just remove my right breast. Mm-hmm. And you just deal with it. You just continue to live. This doesn't make you who you are. There are people that lose limbs and legs and arms, and they just continue to live. And the real deal is that what are you doing when you're considering yourself living? Because it is we. And we have an obligation to people who look like us and for people who can't articulate their concerns. But, what's happening here in Las Vegas is insane because they have an 88% population of black children in the juvenile facility. But understand, these are children who are not reading at the 3rd grade level. And Nevada had already been found guilty of violating the Title II rights. So I don't understand why that doctor wanted to ask for this data when Nevada had already been found guilty of violating the Title II rights for children with disabilities in the juvenile hall. And the data demonstrated it was African American children. And I'm saying, but those children tried to run. I mean, they really tried to run one time. They were going to escape, and they had torches and everything. It was on the news. Then it went away so quickly. But, when you have Usher coming here, and he's got the key to the city over there, and then you have all of this dysfunction, and black people are not at the table. And you understand what happened with Kaepernick. But, it's the house in the field. Somebody been bamboozled. Somebody been tricked and hoodwinked. Because I don't give a damn. If you don't know nothing about what I'm talking about, then you can't talk about it either. And they will label your child as having a behavioral issue, but when public education is all about modifying one's behavior, then what the hell are we talking about? We're talking about nothing. And people who choose to get resources are the ones who choose to stand up. And failure's never been an option. But if you allow yourself to fail, then that's what you're going to do. And you allow yourself to look as ignorant as you want to. Mm-hmm. I think that you swipe one way or another. You don't have to have the comments on the screen. I don't know. Whatever. But it is real. Life is a reality, and we all have choices. And some people just want to do this one little part. That's all they want to do. They don't want to do anything else. And guess what? They don't have to. Because you only have to do what you have to do. That's a minimal. You can live in your box and pretend that you ain't never got to come out. And no matter how toxic the world becomes, it will just be toxic. And you will only know by, it, revealing itself to you. And through a health crisis, I guess. I have no idea. But I do know one thing. The Biden-Harris administration said in 2024 that all 3-year-olds would be enrolled in an educational program across this nation, across all of the states. And all of the states had that money, had access to that American Rescue money. And if you had seen some of the grants and how they wrote it, and how they said the black people were all engaged and involved in the conversation as to how they were going to spend that money, I'm saying, oh no. And now they're arguing about some money over there, but I'm telling you, I don't understand why we don't have in Nevada the first historically black college this side of the Mississippi, simply because Winston Marsalis, and we have all these entertainers here. And, Cotton Club was here. So much money came in. Las Vegas is a city of entertainment. But when we can't even promote our own children, I'm sorry. It is unacceptable. We don't even have talent shows anymore. We don't have, it is whatever it is, but it's going to be whatever it is. But hell, some people, they're made of plastic. And some people, they're made of wood. Some people have hearts of stone. And then some people are up to no good, and it's just real. Because these kids don't have no skills. If they did, they could do what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to work their way up, because eventually this content's going to be worth some pennies. And I know it because a couple of years ago, Anchor, I was on Anchor and I was getting paid for my podcast. Not a lot, but it didn't matter because those pennies added up. And then they changed the rules. And then they said, well, you have to have something like 100 something, and you had to have this much and that much, and I just never cut the, you know, cut the mustard or however you want to put it. But now, my podcast is growing over there on Spotify. It's Parent Empowerment Half an Hour, and it's a half an hour of my talking, but also sharing videos that I thought were relevant because I like Zoom. Come on and Zoom. Come on and Zoom. But that Zoom allows you to stream live right here on YouTube. That's right. And you don't have to have the permission. You too can do what I'm doing. Just pay the $165 and stream wherever you want to stream. And split screen, and it's tools, bro. They're just tools over there. I like those tools on Zoom. And when I get some extra money, I probably will pay for Zoom again. But understand, other things that I paid for before still are relevant, so I'm still paying. I thought I heard a car, but there's no car out there. But anyways, I mean, we all make choices, life choices. And it's real relevant that in the year of 2025, because they have to 2026 to spend all of that American Rescue money. I don't even know how they're going to spend it because believe me, they got that money sitting over there and they couldn't allocate it because they didn't do it the correct way. And the Department of Treasury and the federal people are here to provide them all kind of help so they can get that money out the door. Because ain't no reimbursements coming, and Nevada had to do some strange shit, but they got rid of Jason Gotti. They ended his lifelong career, but those people that were working with Jason, they appreciated him, they loved him so much. They had a farewell thing, and they gave him, and he's probably still getting paid somewhere in the state. He's just not over CCSD. He's just not a mover and shaker. He's just not collecting the harvest. And see, people don't even understand what I'm saying. I'm saying the harvest. The harvest is anybody who just accepts what happens to them and acts like they're hopeless. I'm not hopeless. I have hope. I hope to get my mother's tax refund. I hope because I was the administrator. It doesn't matter what was in the tax refund. It says when I logged in and put her social security number that she still due that money. And when it says she still do it, I'm waiting for it. And then understand that I know they're watching me. Somebody's watching. And they are. And I don't care because my shit was all fucked up. I bought this iPhone 14. It's so screwed up. It wouldn't update. I couldn't push on the button. I couldn't go into my bank account. I couldn't do shit with it. But all of a sudden, when they removed the extra files, all of a sudden, the file that works again. But I'm still missing that little locking mechanism that was a little shutdown button on your screen, and that went away. But they forced me to participate in this facial recognition shit, so yeah, I'm here now. But here in Nevada, shit is just all fucked up. AAA, I'm paying $405 for my AAA insurance. And in Sacramento, it was like less than 1,000 for 2 cars. But here in Nevada, oh no, we're gonna be paying almost $5,000 for car insurance. That's why I have car insurance. I have full coverage. I'm gonna have full coverage because they're gonna pay that shit if something happens to that shit. And that's just real. That's all I can do is to make sure I'm covered, and everybody should have some level of insurance. I don't even understand so many people grow up with no parents, and I don't even know how that works. Oh, I'm a foster. No, I ain't never been no foster child, and my children were not foster children either. And it's great to have a foster parent. It's great to have somebody that loves you and got your back. But understand, there's so many people out here who ain't got shit, and I mean they ain't got nothing. I feel sorry for them, but I can't befriend them all. But I can talk on their behalf. And as America goes, the census counts every individual that lives in your community. And those dollars come back to your local state And then your state, well, see, here in Nevada, they appoint people to be on boards and commission appointments. You don't get to volunteer. And I don't care what you want to do, you don't get to volunteer. So I don't have to care because I can do whatever I want to do. I didn't have to ask permission to do what I do. But when I see what I see, and you don't see what I see, then I'm concerned. Because I don't know. I see too many young African American children, young people with children, with their kids not in no early start program. I said, well, did you apply? And they said, well, they said they didn't have no room. I said, well, you better find an online program because, you know, here in Nevada, they've got an online preschool program. Y'all better figure it out. Somebody getting paid. Mm-hmm. And as that goes, we need to understand they're now taking data from, what is it, second graders, basing that on reading level at second grade and some odd shit they're doing. Because see, life is about you and me and boo down the street, and we all have to do something. But I would say failure is not an option. But when you know what you are and you know who you are, just don't let the doorknob hit you or the good Lord split you, because we all have work to do. And so it is that train. People, get ready for that train that's coming. You don't need no ticket to just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the leaders calling. You don't need no ticket, but I'd say you better praise the Lord. But if you don't believe in God, you got to believe in something. So wait, just not just believe, because it is somebody. This Diego, I'm saying he thinks I'm an old bat. I want to know who he is. Let me see. I'm seeing. I can remove Diego. There. See? I took him out of the way. And he didn't even know I could do that. He just wanted to say something. No, I'm not old. And even if I am old, I'm still here. And that's just reality. Yep. Let me get him again. I'm just going to go through and remove him and just delete him. Look at that, what can happen. Isn't that amazing? You get all these tools, and then you can control somebody. And they ain't gonna like that shit, because he didn't know I could do all that shit. Mm-hmm. And that's just what it is. My neighbor's back. Yep. And so anyways, now I'm comfortable. I don't have to look at Diego's comments. But I'm going to tell you, you know, this is 2025 and we all have an obligation to do what? Become more engaged in the cities that we live in across this nation. And yeah, we all have an obligation to do what? Each one reach one, teach one. But if I can't teach you anything, it really doesn't matter. But if you're so worried about what people can, you don't have to give them that authority. You see how I could just remove him, put him on a whole timeout, and Diego is gone. And Diego wasn't impressing me anyway. He didn't have a whole lot to say. No, I've been avidly watching what's going on in America, and I know that it must be so stressful for people who have families here, who know that they've been supporting families back in their other countries, and you know, may have not followed all the whole process. And I think that America needs to do, you know, in Italy, you get your little paper to visit, and then you have to go to the American consulate to make sure that if you want to stay, that you can do something different. But you don't just get to just do whatever you want to go and do when you're in other countries, and that's just rare. Everybody has a choice. And when people choose not to follow state protocol, whatever, it makes a difference. My sister was going to do the Peace Corps over there in Peru. She just decided, hey, maybe Peru's not developed enough as a nation to be over there and get sick, because that's what you have to learn. But I would encourage everyone to do one term as a volunteer in service for America. That's through the Corporation or National Community Service. And guess what? It's volunteer. And you just get a stipend. And so you pick an organization that got that federal grant money and said they wanted to do all these awesome, wonderful things. And then you align yourself with them and get a job with them. But know this, you can apply for grant money and align yourself with things that you would like to do and see happen, and make those things happen also. As failure is just not an option. I just don't understand how come so many people just accept this level of oversight. I have always been a willful participant in dialogue. That's right. And when I'm saying what I see is unacceptable, it is. I don't understand. I mean, people have just accepted this level of poverty. You see so many people walking around with no teeth in their mouth, and they've never had teeth in their mouth. And when they lost their teeth, it was just gone. I don't know how they eat, but apparently they're eating some kind of way. And then I guess your bones you just survive. And then you see people just getting through, going to the store, motorized, wheelchairs or whatever, or whatever. But that's Medi-Cal money. That's money. These people are poor. They're not cars. They're a mode of transportation. But we have to look at what happened to RTC. We're getting this whole thing down Boulder Highway, and I'm sure that when it gets done, so many people will be coming down Boulder Highway, because you can go from one in Boulder, you can go to Boulder, whatever, and then, or you can go all the way down to Las Vegas. And I'm saying, oh no, there's casinos out there, and it's just real. Everything is about you as an individual. But if you've accepted failure in America, it's just unfortunate, because it is to be, and it's just people are just showing who they are. But understand that you don't have to accept this level of ignorance, because fault tolerance is real. Nobody told these people about fault tolerance. I'm so sorry. Whatever you're doing to me is demonstrated and saved in my cloud, just like it's saved in your cloud. Stop fucking with me. That's what I gotta say. Because, if I'm fucking with you, then the deal is that when you look at how the lack of outcomes for any community of color, and then you give the key to the city to usher, and you got Snoop running around, you got all these young folks engaging with young folks and giving them a dream of what? Not good enough. Because we should have a stronger voice in concert promotion and uplifting people and training these young people, because failure is not an option. But why are our kids over there in the juvenile facilities? And they're impacted. And then look what happened down there in Atlanta, where they had those 14 escapees. And now they're coming after the people who may have helped them escape prison. But they were old children. Oh, Lord. I mean, I'm telling you, Gavin Newsom's probably going to go to jail, because it seems like Trump wants to fuck with him just enough. For a person who never, ever, who filed bankruptcy all of the time, for a person who never followed any of the regulatory guidance, and somebody who paid $750 in taxes, when single women who work for colleges and whatever would pay $4,000 and $5,000 and then get that money back. The real deal is that, understand, this is you. And you have to be who you have to be. And in America, the question has always been, who are you? As it is 2025. Failure's never been an option for me. But I'll guess you'll understand. This requires engaging the community as we continue to pay taxes every April. and we see lack or little or none of the engagement of public services for the outcomes of the benefits of maintenance of effort, whatever, it's not happening. So it's time to awaken. And for that woke crew, the DEI, whatever's going on, wake your ass up. It's 2025, and failure is just not an option. So shall we talk about it? Yes, of course, we will talk about it. This is DA, and I have that podcast over there on Spotify with over 1,000 shows. It's Parent Empowerment, half an hour. But you can catch me, Citizen Anderson, on Podbean. They were trying to say that shit was all filled up too. Or just follow me here on YouTube, Darlene Anderson 1958. Of course, there's LinkedIn, there's Instagram. It's just a conversation. But what will you do as it is 2025? Y'all have a blessed evening now. I gotta go.